What's up, everybody? King Triple C here, the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world. Anyhow, you guys stay tuned, and you guys don't forget to hit up Artem MMA Analysis on YouTube. Because if you don't, you guys can all do me a favor and bend the knee to King Triple C.
Welcome back, fans of the GOAT, Artem Lobov. Unfortunately, I haven't been recording for a very long time. I haven't made a video in about a week. I do apologize for that, but we're back with Dana White's Contender Series. If you guys didn't know, I love Dana White's Contender Series. I cannot wait to break down this Week 9 card. I think we've got like 6 fights or something crazy. A lot of fighters coming out of China as well, and you'll notice that in Week 10 as well. But yeah, let's just get into it. I'm going to start talking about Bin Z. Unfortunately, if you guys don't know, I usually show footage of the fighters, but because Z-Bin fights for one championship, all of his fights are there, I'm going to get a copyright strike. So unfortunately, we will not be seeing any Bin Z footage in this video. So, Bin Z, he's 23 years old, but he has not fought in 2 years, which is pretty insane. And he spent his whole career at one championship, which is a very respectable promotion. And he's got 4 submission wins by Das choke, and I saw on his Facebook he said that he's got 4, so maybe that guillotine choke which is listed is actually a Das choke as well. Unfortunately though, I can't show any Z-Bin footage, as I said, because of the copyright reasons, but his footage is very easy to find. Honestly, I don't know if you can see. Unfortunately, you can't see because of my stupid little overlay, but if you just search up Z-Bin fight, you get all of his fights. One uploads all of their fights, so it's pretty easy to find. So you guys can just go and watch them yourself, if that's okay. Unfortunately, I can't show them to you. So I'm just gonna show some footage of Olivier Mourad versus Muhammadjon Naimov, just while I talk a little bit more here. And so Z-Bin, he's got a very heavy wrestling base, and he uses this to get his opponents to the ground very quickly. Once the fight does reach the ground, he's very active on top, and he's always searching for a submission. Z-Bin is always looking for a submission, and he's always looking to take the fight down. He takes the fight down, honestly, within the first minute of the fight, pretty much every single time. And now to talk about his opponent, Olivier Mourad, who we're watching right now. He's in the blue shorts, and he's undefeated as both a pro and an amateur. In his last fight, he captured the Titan FC featherweight belt by 5-round decision against former Dana White's Contender Series fighter, Muhammadjon Naimov. He put on a good performance, but in my opinion, Naimov was able to control him on the ground for much longer than I would have liked to see, considering Bin Z is going to be looking to take the fight to the ground as soon as possible. And a lot of this fight did actually take place on the ground, and a pretty decent amount of it, Olivier Mourad was on his back, which does concern me, considering the fact that he will be fighting a guy that will be looking to take him down as soon as possible. So I was hoping to find some stats on the fight to see what the control time was. See, that's once again takedown from Naimov there, getting the fight to the ground, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything. But if Naimov can get the fight to the ground this much, I think that Bin Z is going to be able to find a way to get the fight to the ground as well. I think that we are going to see a submission win from Bin Z. I don't really want to say a round because I'm not sure. A lot of Bin Z's wins, though, have come by like the first or second round submission. See, a couple there. I watched the Sorsay fight. I watched this fight as well. And I didn't watch this one because it was an 0-0 opponent, but I did watch against Ahmad as well, and his decision win over Edward Cully as well. But yeah, all of his wins, well, most of his wins by submission come inside the first 2 rounds. I think it's probably pretty fair to say that Bin Z is going to find the submission inside the first 2 rounds if he is to win this fight. It's going to be interesting, man. He hasn't fought in a long time. He's a young guy, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be a great way to start off the night. And Bin Z, 62% of the 62% picking him by submission. A lot of people picking Mourad by KO. Very interesting, because Mourad only has 2 KO wins. I would say it's a pretty interesting choice there. But no, I've definitely got Bin Z in this one. I do think that he's going to get the job done. I think he's going to take the fight to the ground pretty much as soon as possible, and he's just going to be searching for the submissions. If you guys watch this guy, he is always looking for a submission. And I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get the job done inside the distance. How's it going, fellow fans of the GOAT, Artem Lobov? We've got Emmanuel Torres versus Colton, England in the Dana White's Contender Series, week number 9. Although it says that Emmanuel Torres' last weigh-in was at 140 pounds, his last fight was actually at 155. And to talk about Emmanuel Torres, before I get into that, I'm going to be honest, guys. I normally show a lot of footage of these guys in the video, but unfortunately, I genuinely have nothing. All I could really find was on UFC Fight Pass, and I'm going to get a major copyright strike if I try any of that. So, unfortunately, I genuinely have no footage of these guys, but I do have a cool little highlight video of Emmanuel Torres from like 5 years ago. But Emmanuel Torres, he's a finisher. He's got 6 submission wins and 4 knockout wins. I struggled to find a lot of footage on Emmanuel, but his 25-second submission win in his last fight can be found on UFC Fight Pass. I did find a cool highlight video on him though. And it's worth noting that when he finishes his fights, he finishes them very quickly, and at least 7 of his 10 finishes have come inside the first round. Colton England, on the other hand, this is Emmanuel Torres' opponent. Colton England is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is the Fury FC lightweight champion. He has 2 submission wins, both of which are by armbar. Unfortunately, the only footage I could find on Colton as well was on UFC Fight Pass, so I can't show that for copyright reasons. For someone with a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he is very happy to keep the fight on the feet. On the feet, his boxing is his best weapon in my opinion, although he did really hurt Alec Williams in his last fight with a head kick. I still do think that his boxing is his best weapon, and he controls the center of the cage, applying a lot of pressure onto his opponent, and he also has great takedown defense as well, so he's not just going to accept the takedown if it comes to him, which could happen in this fight. Emmanuel Torres could be looking to take him down to get a submission, but I don't think that he's going to want to take down the black belt in Colton England. I like Colton England stand up. I like his ground game. Both of Emmanuel Torres' losses have come by submission. It's definitely worth noting that. Colton England, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, only 2 submission wins though. So yeah, we'll see what happens. He's got 4 decision wins, 2 submission wins. Let's do the math, 3 knockout wins, and I think that he's going to get another win. The method I'm not confident on. I really couldn't tell you. There's a lot of people with confidence in their knockout by England. I think there could be a pretty good chance of a submission win, to be honest. Both of Torres' losses are by submission. I know most of his wins are by submission as well, so it's kind of a double-edged sword for him where he wants to get the fight to the ground, but we'll see what happens, man. I think I've got Colton England. I'm pretty sure he's going to open up as the favorite as well. The odds have not been released for Dana White's Contender Series at the time of me recording this video. I think he's going to open up as the favorite, and I do think that he will get the job done. Alright, let's get into some Dana White's Contender Series. This is the first time this year that I've actually got odds ahead of me before making my prediction. We've got Karine Silva as a minus 250 favorite. I mean, I can't really disagree, and I'll get into my breakdown now. So, Jani, I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name there. It's very difficult to find footage on her, but I did manage to find a couple of fights. And I think I've got this on mute. I do. From what I have seen, she seems to be more of a striker, and she does bring a very aggressive style. 7 of her wins are by knockout, and from what I've seen, she definitely doesn't want the fight to be on the ground. Whenever she gets taken down, she tries to get up straight away. And I believe that was a little knockdown here, but what I will show you is when her opponent does get a takedown, she just tries to get up straight away. She does show very good takedown defense, and that is going to be quite important against Karine Silva. But what I'll get into about Karine Silva is I think that she's just going to be too big for Jani. I know that Karine Silva most recently fought at 115 pounds, but she is massive, dude. She's 5'5". She's got bigger biceps than me. And Jani, she's 5'3", so she's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter than Karine Silva. Karine Silva is really big, to be honest. I believe that she's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. To me, that looks like a brown belt there on that little screenshot of her Instagram. But to get into her breakdown, I think she's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All 13 wins are by finish, 9 by KO, and 4 by submission. And once again, she's massive. And the fight's taking place at 125 pounds, and I think that she will be taller than Jani, giving her a decent size advantage, which will be important when she looks to grapple which is pretty inevitable. In her fight, she does look to take the fight to the ground. When she does get the fight to the ground, she looks to either improve her position or lay down some ground and pound. A lot of her KO wins are by ground and pound. And all she's looking for is submission. As you can see here, she's working away at some ground and pound, but she's also setting up a leg lock as well, which she does eventually get. If I just skip a couple of seconds in here. And to be fair, I would put Karine Silva as a pretty big favorite as well. I wouldn't really put her as like a minus 250 favorite. I think that's pretty big, but yeah, I'm pretty confident in Karine Silva to get the job done. I think that we could see either a ground and pound TKO or a submission. Recently, she is on a little bit of a submission streak. I think, yeah, three submissions in a row. But she does have most of her wins by ground and pound TKO. I think we might see another submission win. Yan has never been submitted, but she has have 2 TKO losses in her career, so maybe we could see another one of those. I'm not sure. We're only 6% are picking KO TKO for Silva, considering the majority of her wins are by KO TKO. I've got Silva in this one. I do think that she gets the job done. I think Yan, her path to victory is to keep the fight on the feet and maybe just swing those wild punches, which she seems to do in every fight. And maybe if she catches Silva, she could get the job done. But I'm pretty confident in my pick on Karine Silva to get the job done. I think she'll get it done inside the distance, as all of her other fights have ended inside the distance. It is a step up in competition for both ladies here. 9-4 was Yan's last fight, which isn't too bad. 0-0 before that. 0-4, not necessarily the best look. Karine Silva, though, has been fighting decent enough competition. 12-7, not really too bad. 8-1, good competition there. 1-0, 2-3, 2-0. So really not the highest level of competition, but I mean these girls, sorry, are fighting on the regional scene. You can't really blame them for that. I've got Karine Silva. I think she gets the job done inside the distance here. Now we've got a lightweight fight between Javid Bhaskar versus Orion Colton. This is very interesting. Artem MMA was actually the first person, I think, to point this out. This fight's at lightweight, and Javid Bhaskar has been fighting at bantamweight his entire career, so this is going to be very interesting. He's going to have a size disadvantage to the 41-year-old Orion Colton, but what confuses me is Sherdog has him listed at 40 years old. Tapology has him listed at 40 years old. I am a little bit confused because in this interview, which took place in 2019, this interviewer said that he was 32 years old. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And he's also got 6 black belts as well, which is pretty insane. So maybe he's 34. Maybe he's 40 years old. I mean, honestly, dude, I don't know for sure. I really struggled to find much footage on Orion. Javid Bhaskar, his last fight was an octagon. Unfortunately, I get copyright striked for showing octagon fights, so I'm just going to have to talk about the two fighters here. They're both finishers. Javid Bhaskar, I believe, has like 4 KO wins and 6 submission wins. No, 5-5 on KO and submission. And Orion Colton, 16 wins, 16 finishes, 6 KO wins, 10 submission wins. I mean, he's got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He will probably be looking to take the fight to the ground against Javid, as I do think that Javid's main way of winning would probably be by knockout. If Orion truly is 40 years old, the first thing to go is what a lot of people say is the chin. But Javid fighting out of London Shoot Fighters. That's also the same gym as Michael Venom Page, if I'm not mistaken, who's a pretty good Bellator fighter at the moment. And we've actually got odds on this one. Javid, a pretty decent favorite as well. Interesting. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. We've got a 16-0 guy versus a 10-0 guy. This could be the main event. I am going to go with Javid Bhaskar. To be fair, it is mainly because of the age difference. There's like a 15-year age difference between these two guys. Orion's going to have a lot more experience. I mean, 6 black belts. One of them in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm actually not too sure what the other ones are. I think there's one in Muay Thai as well. Something insane like that. But I do have to go with Javid in this one. I think he's going to be a lot faster. He will be smaller, but he does actually have a height advantage, which is quite interesting here, and maybe the reach advantage as well. And I've got to go with him by KO. I do think that he's going to get the job done inside the distance. I think Colton's way to win would actually have to be to take the fight to the ground and look for a submission. But yeah, 2 undefeated guys in their pro records. Orion Colton does actually have a loss, but it was 11 years ago when he was an amateur. So yeah, man, this is an interesting fight, and very interested to see why Orion is 41 years old on the Contender Series. I mean, you would probably think that the UFC would have just signed this guy a couple of years ago when he last fought, but it's going to be a good fight, I reckon. I'm looking forward to it. Two undefeated guys. I've got to go with Javid Bhaskar. I think he's going to be faster, and I do think he will probably find the chin of Orion. I do think he gets the job done inside the distance. Alright, let's get into the co-main event, I guess you could call it, of Dana White's Contender Series. Unfortunately, guys, my laptop is just playing up really, really badly for some reason, so I'm not going to be showing much footage, and these last two videos for the card will be quite short. I don't really know what's happening, but my laptop keeps crashing every time I go to upload a video. Every time I go to make a thumbnail, my laptop crashes. I've restarted it. I've done everything that I know how to. Unfortunately, I'm just going to have to skip through and make these videos quickly. I do apologize. Hopefully, by the time I get my UFC 267 predictions in, my laptop will be a lot better. But let's get into this fight. Christian Kanoes versus Zhao. I think it's no real secret here that Christian Kanoes has fought significantly better competition. It's not even really close. He's got a 10-0 win there. He lost to a pretty decent 7-2 guy. An 0-1 win, not really the best, but 13-1 win, 20-7 win. That Donny Matos actually has a win over Wilson Arias. Zhao, on the other hand, he hasn't really fought good competition. 5-0, good win there, but apart from that, he's pretty much just beaten guys with losing records. He's Zhao, he's always looking to take the fight to the ground. He's got more decision wins than finishes. He's got ground and pounding. He's looking for submission. Christian Kanoes, he's got 8 wins by KO. He probably wants to keep the fight on the feet. We'll see what happens here. And a lot of people have Christian Kanoes to win by decision. Very interesting. I think it might be because Zhao is a pretty hard guy to finish. He doesn't really give that many opportunities to finish you, if that makes any sense, because he does get the fights to the ground. And he's got 3 KO losses, 3 decision losses, 7 decision wins there. I think that Christian Kanoes, he's a pretty confident pick here. I can't actually remember what the odds are, but he's actually a pretty sizable favourite here. I think for a pretty good reason. The guys that he has beaten and lost to are significantly higher level than the guys that Zhao has fought. And I do think he's going to get the job done, either by a KO or by decision. I think if Zhao was to win, we could see maybe like a submission or a ground and pound TKO, something like that. Zhao will be looking to take the fight to the ground. But if Kanoes can keep it on the feet, I think that we will see a pretty good stand-up performance from Christian Kanoes, and I do think that he will get the job done by a KO or a decision in this one here. And I guess in the main event of the Dana White's Contender Series night, we've got Omar Gadzhiev versus Jani Silva. And I think it's pretty fair to say that whoever wins this fight will definitely get a contract. They've both got really good records. It's at middleweight. No disrespect to the UFC's middleweight division, but it's definitely in need of some new up-and-coming prospects. And I think that either of these two guys would be great additions. We've got Jani Silva, 5 KOs on his record for his 7 wins. Omar Gadzhiev, he's got 8 KOs on his record for the 12 wins. Omar Gadzhiev, I don't think that his striking is actually as good as Jani Silva's, to be brutally honest. But I think that he will be just looking to take the fight to the ground, and will be getting like a ground and pound TKO or something like that. Or one thing that the Russians, not necessarily to put the Russians in a box, but one thing that a lot of the Russian wrestlers like to do is when they have their opponents up against the cage, they are always searching for a rear naked choke. So as soon as you give up your back to get up, a lot of Russian wrestlers, in fact a lot of wrestlers in general, like to be looking for that choke. So maybe we would see a submission. I mean, Gudsy does have 2 submissions in his career, but I do think that we will see a TKO win by Gudsy, and I do think that it will take place on the ground and pound TKO for Gudsy. I think relatively late on the fight. I do think this fight will probably go into one of the later rounds, unless Jani Silva can land like a big shot, or Gudsy can just get his ground and pound off, or find a submission early on. I know that Omar Gadzhiev is like a minus 500 favorite or something insane like that. I don't know if I would really put him like that. And then this guy just said Silva got KO'd by guys 2-4 now. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, Omar Gadzhiev, I mean, it's MMA, man. Anything can happen. Omar Gadzhiev, I do think that he's going to win. I think he's going to be 13-0. Coming into the UFC, I think that the UFC will probably give him a couple of decent fights. to kind of boost that record a little bit more. Kind of like Albert Duraev, he's got a fight coming up. Can't wait to see that. Gadzhi Armagadzhiev, definitely someone to look out for in the future, and I think he's going to get the job done by KO or submission or decision. I don't know, man. He could get it done kind of any way, but I think KO is probably the most likely. He does have a few standing KO wins. In fact, one in like 15 seconds of the first, but I do think that we will see a ground and pound TKO probably in the second or third round is my official prediction.